What's going on, guys? Matt here from Become Elite, and in this video I want to go through my entire life and really calculate how many hours I've trained as a footballer. So I'm sure that like 99% of you have heard about the 10,000 hour rule from Malcolm Gladwell, but basically it's just the idea that you need to put in 10,000 hours of deliberate training in order to master something or master your craft or become a professional at something. Personally, I'm a big believer in the idea of the 10,000 hour rule. Of course, it has its limitations and of course it's not perfect, but I like that idea of you need deliberate hours training at something in order to master it. So being a professional soccer player, I thought it'd be really cool to kind of go through my life quickly and sum up how many hours I've trained and when I hit that 10,000 hour mark. Okay, so for the first 5 years of my life, from the minute I was born until my 6th birthday, I only had 20 hours of on-ball training in my entire life. So then at 6 years old, I enrolled in AYSO, and then I did like 2 hours per week over that 8-week season just with my dad, or just individually kicking the ball around because I liked the sport. And I was also very fortunate. I had a random coach there who just saw a little potential in me, like, oh yeah, he's athletic. Let's bring him out with my son and they can just play 1v1s and do a little bit of skill training. So for like the month before that season, I did like 8 hours for the entire month of August, just kind of preparing for that season to come up. And that was it. That was the entire year. That's all I did. So in total, I did 72 hours of training when I was 6 years old. At age 7, I pretty much did the exact same thing, but instead of 2 trainings per week, we started just to do 3 trainings per week. So I went up to 88 hours of training at age 7. And then as we pushed into ages 8, 9, and 10, the season actually was about 4 weeks longer. So instead of like an 8-week season, it was actually a 12-week season now. So over those 3 years, I accumulated 312 hours of training. Then at age 11, once again, I did the August training. I did the classic 12-week season, 8 hours per week for that AYSO season. And then I actually joined my first competitive team, the club soccer team. So in total, this was a great year, but at age 11, I did 424 hours of training. And I mean, you can just see right there how much of a late bloomer I was. I mean, I'm 11 years old and I haven't even accumulated 1,000 hours of soccer training yet. So 12 years old, I did the club soccer again. So I'm gonna estimate about 30 weeks of training with the team and games at around 8 hours a week. So like 2 or 3 trainings a week, maybe 1 or 2 games on the weekend, and then maybe, you know, staying after with the coach doing a little bit of extra work. So 240 hours for that year, which again is pretty low. Age 13, again, I was in club soccer, so 30 weeks of training at around 10 hours per week, so in total 300 hours, so a little bit more than age 12, but this is when I really started to develop a passion for soccer. I mean, this is when it kind of became my favorite sport at age 13, which is kind of late, but this is when I started to do more individual training, kind of do more 1v1s with my brother, more juggling in my garage. I started seeing videos of Ronaldinho and watching him and just really developing a love for the game and that passion. So I started doing more extra on my own. Then we get to age 14, I was still kind of doing the same amount of training with the teams and still doing my individual training or kind of just playing against my brother and juggling and stuff. But I'm going to bump it up to 35 weeks out of the year because I was also doing high school training. So in total, another 350 hours that year. But age 15, 16, 17, I was playing year round. There were only a few weeks throughout the entire year where I didn't touch the football at all. So in total, I'm gonna say 45 weeks throughout the year at around 15 hours per week. And this is when I was doing extra work with my brother, doing extra training with my dad, working on long balls. I had a one-on-one private trainer, so getting in like an hour extra per week there. So 675 hours for the year of 15, 16, 17. Now we get to 18. This was like my grind year. And this is where it all came together. If you guys have heard my story, 18 is when I moved up to the A team, when I started getting noticed, when I had my standout senior year, when I started getting like Division I offers, when I got second in state with my club team that year. So that was like a very like grind year. And I don't think it's a coincidence that like one of my most successful years was also the year where I put in the most amount of hours into it. And I'm gonna average it out about 45 weeks throughout the year with 17 hours per week. Because I was doing my team trainings and games with my high school team, my team trainings and games with my club team, doing all the same individual work with my brother. I also really wanted to play Division I college soccer, so I was doing extra individual training and extra partner training with some teammates in order to prepare for that. Just doing as much extra as I possibly could during that year. So in total for that year, 765 hours, which is really good. Okay, now 19 years old. 19 is a very interesting year because this is the first year that I joined UC Davis, a Division I school, but I actually did less hours than I was doing for the last 3 or 4 years. And I don't know if it's a little bit of complacency, like, oh, I made it to the D1 level, or if it's like, you know what, let's test things out. I don't want to do too much. I really don't know. Basically, with the team throughout the year, I kind of estimated at 445 hours, and this is how I broke it down. And then individually, I still did a decent job individually. I'd say it's about 2 hours a week for that entire year of like 50 weeks. But I was really good at sticking around after training, doing a little bit of extra finishing work, hitting some long balls, going, you know, on my off day, going to like a wall and getting wall passes in and wall juggling in. So at 19, 545 hours. Age 20, once again, I did the same thing, the 445 hours throughout the entire year with the team. And then individually, once again, 2 hours a week for 50 weeks. But one thing I did, I actually made one of my first YouTube videos ever talking about this winter juggling program where I did 1,000 juggles every single night for like 100 days to get 100,000 juggles in. So kind of like doing that took around like 30 minutes every single night that I was doing that. And then spring and summer, I had a really good teammate, Conti. He saw potential in me as an athlete and just said, look, you're just missing like that 10,000 hours of on-ball training. Let's go out and do small group sessions only with the ball, technical work, pinging long balls. It's just like exactly what you're saying in my YouTube videos. But he really pushed me to come out with him and a couple other players and really do extra technical work. So in total, when I was 20 years old, I'm gonna say it was 643 hours of training. Okay, now 21. This was my absolute craziest year of training ever in my life. And I think that I really could have only done that at 21. I think if I were to do that now, I really don't know if I would survive that again, but I put in a ton of work into this year. So once again, at 21, I was a junior now in college, but I did the 445 hours throughout the entire year with my college soccer team. I was fortunate enough to make the San Jose Earthquakes U23 team. Once again, probably individual training, 2 hours a week over 50 weeks. And then this is where I really killed it. It was like small group sessions. There was like 4 or 5 of us at Davis that were really serious about going to play at the next level. We probably put in around 26 weeks over the winter, spring, and summer at around 6 hours a week, just training together. In total for this year, 797 hours. So now 22 years old, in total for the whole year when I was 22 years old, I think I put in around 685 hours. Okay, so now 23. So this number right here, I know it's under 10,000. That's when I signed my first pro contract at the age of 23 years old, barely, just about to turn 24 with the Orange County Blues. So close to 10,000, but not 10,000 yet. I'll start to go a little bit quicker now as I kind of progress into my professional years. But basically 24, I put in around 612 hours. And then 25, this is probably my worst year in a long time. And as you'll see, due to multiple surgeries. And this is why I preach so much about staying healthy and listening to your body, because taking an extra 3 days off to let your body recover in the long term could save you months, could give you 300 hours of extra training just because it might save you from an injury. So this is why I'm so big on listening to your body. But basically at the age of 25, 354 hours that year, rough year. Okay, now 26. This is a better year, but still not great, as you'll see. At 26, I did 510 hours, which is better than 354 the year before, but still not around that 600 or 700 that you kind of, or at least I kind of shoot for. Now 27, this was another good year, ramping up again. Body's feeling really good the whole time. So the whole year of 27, about 586 hours. So that's good. Again, it's better, but I think the coronavirus and kind of like locking down everything for 10, 12 weeks was a big reason why you're not getting, or I wasn't getting those like 12 hours a week of training. And now this brings me to 28. I'm 28 right now, but basically through August, September, and October, I was training with FC Tulsa, finishing out the season. And then basically November, this is this month right now of November, 1 week into November, I've done about 8 hours of training so far this week. So in total, if we calculate everything, that's 10,543 hours, if my math is correct here. So I want to say a few things about that. One, I hit 10,000 hours very late on in my career. And that's because, like I said, from at age 11, I think I had less than 1,000 hours of on-ball team training. So ideally, if I were to do it again and I kind of knew that I'd be passionate about soccer, I would have pushed me just kicking around a ball, doing more at a younger age. And that's no fault of my parents because they didn't know. They had me playing basketball and baseball and football and like all the American sports. So I put in tons of hours into basketball, baseball, and football. So it's just kind of like unlucky. And then as you can see, I really had to kind of play catch up to get to that 10,000 hours. So I think if I would have hit that 10,000 hours at 21, 22, then I think that's when I really would have had like a better career than I'm having right now. I'm very happy with my career and what I've made out of it. But I think, people always ask like, why aren't you playing MLS? Why aren't you playing higher division over in Europe or something? I think that I've always been a late bloomer with my training, with my physique, with everything. The last thing that I want to talk about with this is that my numbers might be a little bit low. Also, because I'm not counting any tactical game analysis, I'm not counting any of my workouts without the ball, I'm not counting any of my fitness sessions. This is 10,543 hours with the ball, with team trainings, small group trainings, and individual trainings and games. Okay, so that is a pro footballer sitting down and counting how many hours he's trained. So anyway, speaking of the training and 10,000 hours of training, I already trained this morning. I trained with a small group. It was a really good session. Forgot the memory card for the first part of it, so Mimi had to run back and grab it. But here is my training session from this morning. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the video. So we're getting in a little small group training session right now. We got Darren. Darren, do you want to say a little thing about you?
I play for BS United and Franklin High School.
And you're like 15, right?
I just turned 16.
You just said that. Just turned 16. Do you want to say anything about like what's on the horizon in the future? Do you want to keep it to yourself?
Keep it.
All right, smart. All right, Colburn, do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Colburn. I play for Washington Timbers up in Washington. I go to Skyview High School. Just excited to be out here to be able to play.
Yeah, and so senior year now, like you're looking for the next steps as well.
Pretty much.
Nothing's concrete though, but
no, nothing concrete, but definitely some things I'm interested in.
Yeah, and obviously you got Vince again. So it's just me and a whole bunch of teenagers right now. And it's great. So I forgot the memory card at home, so we've been warming up. We did a passing drill, we did some two-touch, and now we're about to head into like the small group possession, tight space stuff like that. So like I said, you guys missed the first couple drills of this training session because I forgot my SD card. It was just a square passing drill, a little bit of two-touch, some juggling stuff, and that was pretty much it. And then now we're into the tight space possession drill. So this is 3v1, max two-touch, and just try to keep it away from the person in the middle for as long as possible.
3, 4, 5. Oh my God. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18.
So we did about 20 minutes of that 3v1 drill, and then here's just short, long juggling, just trying to keep it up in the air, working on the first touch, working on waiting passes. We struggled a lot with this drill today, but hopefully as we continue to do this, it'll just get better and better over the course of off season. Then we went into a game of two-touch, so you guys have seen this 1,000 times now. Two-touch, keep the ball in the air, no thighs, no head, and we played to 5. Usually we play to 3, but we played to 5 since there's less of us, and then if you got to 5, then you got kicked out, and then it's just for the last person who wins. So this is our two-touch game. We played a lot of these games, but this is the game that Vince won right here. After a few games of two-touch, then we went into Horseshoes. You guys have probably seen this game again, but it's just try to trap the ball with one touch as close as you can to the cone. So we have one cone right at this corner of the 18, and the other cone is all the way on the opposite corner of the 18. You have a partner on the opposite side, and you're working together to try to trap the ball down closest to the cone. If you get closest to the cone, you get a point, and it's first 1 to 7.
That's going to be tough to keep, Paul. Good ball, Vince. All right, 4-1.
Ball's in. 5-2. Stop. My bad. Good time. Ball's in. After 2 games of Horseshoes to 7, we ended the training session here with just 2v2 mini goals, just unlimited touch, just playing against each other, as basic as it gets.
Good touch, Vince. Yes. 1-0. Here's that. There we go. Woo! Stay. You guys step, I got him. No line. Yes.
It's just really good small group session. I want to get more of those, but like as always, I think it's so good to balance it, like small group, little partner trainings, individual trainings, and then obviously with your team, the full group sessions and everything. But awesome, really good. I'm tired.
So that was our full training session. I hope you guys enjoyed that. When I'm in small groups like this, I really like to take advantage of having multiple players. So playing possession games, small space games that you can't do just by yourself or with a partner, like Horseshoes or big games of 2-touch. So that was pretty much what this session was focused on. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.